Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Darkest Corner. Today we have two different types of scary stories. Hope you enjoy.
The Devil's Candidate. No one could explain how Victor Hargrave had risen to power so quickly. A decade ago, he was an unknown businessman. Then out of nowhere, he took the political world by storm, gaining influence with an almost supernatural charm. His speeches stirred something deep in people: awe, fear, loyalty. By the time he was elected as the world's most powerful leader, his supporters would do anything for him, literally. The unseen cost. At first, his rule seemed normal: strong policies, economic growth, global influence. But journalists who criticized him disappeared. Rivals who opposed him suffered strange accidents. Whispers spread that those who shook his hand claimed it felt too warm, like fire beneath the skin. But the worst was his eyes. Cameras sometimes caught a strange flicker in them, just for a split second. Not red, not black, but something deeper, something wrong. And those who stared too long into them, many of them lost their minds. One night, a rogue intelligence agent named Daniel Cross uncovered a file marked Project Dominion. What he found inside sent him spiraling into horror. The document wasn't written in any known language, yet somehow he understood every word. It spoke of an ancient pact, a deal struck not in ink, but in blood and fire. A name was scrawled at the bottom: Victor Hargrave, but the date, 1672. The shadow behind the throne. Desperate, Daniel broke into the presidential estate, hoping to expose the truth. He slipped past guards, hacking into Hargrave's private security feeds, and that's when he saw it. Hargrave sat alone in his office, whispering to the dark. A shadow loomed behind him, shifting and writhing, almost alive. The lights flickered, casting its grotesque shape onto the walls. Then the president turned. His eyes, no longer human, locked onto the camera. He smiled, revealing teeth too sharp, too numerous. The screen flickered with static, but through the distortion, a voice seeped through the speakers. "You should not have looked." The power in the room cut out. The vanishing Daniel's body was never found. His apartment burned to the ground, his records erased, as if he had never existed. But before he disappeared, he managed to send one final message to an underground journalist network. It was a single grainy image, a close-up of Victor Hargrave's face during a speech. His pupils were gone. And inside the empty black voids, something else stared back, watching, waiting, smiling. The Whistler of Black Hollow Ridge, deep in the Appalachian Mountains, nestled between dense forests and mist-covered ridges, lies an abandoned mining town called Black Hollow. It's a place that doesn't show up on most maps, and those who live nearby refuse to speak of it. Not because of the mines, those shut down decades ago, but because of the Whistler. The legend says that if you hear whistling in the woods at night, it's already too late. The hike Logan and his two friends, Danny and Eric, were experienced hikers, always looking for the next thrill. They had heard the stories of Black Hollow and wanted to see it for themselves. Ignoring the warnings from the locals, they packed their gear and headed up the old overgrown trail leading to the town. The deeper they hiked, the quieter the forest became. Birds stopped singing. Even the wind barely rustled the trees. By the time they reached the crumbling remains of Black Hollow, the silence was deafening. That's when they heard it. A long, slow whistle floating through the trees. It wasn't a tune, just a single, eerie note that rose and fell unnaturally. "Probably just the wind," Logan muttered, though his voice wavered. Danny and Eric weren't so sure. The shadows in the dark. As night fell, they set up camp in the center of the abandoned town. The skeletal remains of buildings surrounded them, their windows like hollow, watching eyes. Then just past midnight, the whistling started again. Closer this time. Danny grabbed his flashlight and shone it toward the woods. The beam flickered, then dimmed. At the tree line, a figure stood just beyond the reach of the light. Tall, thin, unmoving. The whistling stopped. Then it started again, from the opposite direction. Another figure stood there, barely visible in the shifting shadows. Panic set in. "We need to go. Now," Eric whispered. They packed in frantic silence, their fingers trembling. But the moment Logan turned off the lantern, the night swallowed them whole. And then, footsteps, soft, deliberate, circling their camp. Logan reached for his flashlight, but a bony claw-like hand shot out of the darkness and yanked him back. He screamed, then nothing. Silence. No wind, no crickets. Just the slow, dreadful sound of whistling. The aftermath. When search teams arrived days later, they found nothing but an abandoned campsite. Logan, Danny, and Eric were gone, their footprints vanishing at the edge of the woods. The only clue left behind was a single, crude carving in a rotting wooden post. It sees, it follows, it whistles. And to this day, locals say if you ever find yourself near Black Hollow Ridge after dark, listen carefully. If you hear whistling, never whistle back, because the whistler isn't just listening, it's hunting.